You've done 3 days of London. You're getting a little burned out on standing in queues, wondering whether you even like sightseeing. Here's the move clever travelers make on day 4. They leave. 90 minutes west of Paddington, there's a beautiful honey-colored city built for taking it easy. Romans came here to soak. Georgians came to be seen. You're coming for a day that asks nothing of you except that you slow down. Welcome to Bath. Bath is the only city in the UK that's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and UNESCO also lists it among the great spa towns of Europe. You can walk the whole story of Bath in an afternoon to a full day, in the order that history built it. 2,000 years on foot, morning bun to evening pint. Every city starts with a reason. Bath's is implied in its name. Bath sits on the only natural hot spring in Britain. The Celts got here first and worshipped a goddess at the spring, Sulis. The Romans got here around AD 43 and founded the spa town around AD 60. The Romans identified Sulis with their own goddess of wisdom and craft, Minerva, building a temple to the hybrid, Sulis Minerva, with a grand bathing complex around it. UNESCO rates the remains among the most important Roman survivals north of the Alps. The modern name Bath preserves a reference to the thermal waters that have defined the city since antiquity. Book a slot and explore the entire complex of the Grade 1 listed main Roman Baths museum building, above and below ground. After the Romans left, many Roman towns simply vanished. Bath slept. The baths silted up, the temple fell, but the city never emptied out. It reordered itself around that honey gold church filling the sky, Bath Abbey. Anglo-Saxon records call the settlement Biome, at the Baths. The Abbey is one of the last great medieval churches raised in England before the Reformation. It's Grade 1 listed. Queen Elizabeth I visited in 1574 and authorized a national collection to pay for its repair after the dissolution had stripped it back. What was Bath doing in the 1,000 years between the Romans and the Georgians? Making cloth. After Rome, Bath became an important center of the medieval wool trade because of its strategic location. Drovers could bring sheep from the Cotswold Hills, the River Avon-powered mills, and easy connections to the nearby port of Bristol for export. The local monastery helped organize labor and manage resources efficiently. Bath became known for its tightly woven broadcloth. 50 broad looms existed on Broad Street alone. Chaucer's Wife of Bath character from his Canterbury Tales is praised as a master cloth maker. 2 minutes from the Abbey, we're in an area within Bath's medieval walls near the Abbey precinct. North Parade Passage, once Lilliput Alley. It reflects the narrow medieval street layout that still survives today. Looking along North Parade Passage toward Abbey Green, you'll see the giant plane tree, grown from a sapling planted in 1793 and considered one of the world's oldest architecturally planted trees. Ahead are Grade 2 listed number 1 and Grade 2 star listed number 2 North Parade Passage, historic buildings linked to Ralph Allen, together with what is now called the Ralph Allen House, the Grade 1 listed structure to the rear on York Street. Allen ran Bath's post office from here. He reformed Britain's cross-post system, handling mail between towns without passing through London, and he made a fortune. He later bought the Combe Down stone quarries that supplied much of Bath's building stone. Allen became Bath's mayor, on whom Henry Fielding based the good character of Squire Allworthy in his novel Tom Jones. Nearby is Sally Lunn's historic eating house, now a museum and tea rooms famous for its Sally Lunn bun. The house is Grade 2 star listed and widely called the oldest house in Bath, with foundations going back to the Abbey's rebuilding after a fire in 1137. The bun's namesake is more tradition than record. the tale of a Huguenot refugee, Sally Lunn, baking here in the 1680s. Wool made Bath rich. Making Bath beautiful, well, that came next. Climb uphill, northwest, into the Bath everyone pictures on the postcard. John Wood the Elder dreamed of a city to rival ancient Rome and laid out the now Grade 1 listed Circus, a perfect ring of identical facades. The circus doors read like a guest list. Building plaques mark, among others, the painter Thomas Gainsborough at number 17, where he lived and painted from 1759 to 1774. Prime Minister William the Pitt Elder, 1st Earl of Chatham, at number 7, explorer David Livingstone at number 13, and a few doors round, at number 14, Clive of India, who came to Bath for his health from 1767 and took the house in 1774, the year he died. Walk west along Brock Street for Bath's best view. 30 houses curved into a single sweeping arc, built between 1767 and 1774. The Grade 1 listed Royal Crescent, designed by John Wood the Younger to complete his father's vision of a grand city to rival Rome. Look for the plaque on number 17 commemorating Sir Isaac Pitman, inventor of shorthand. 2 houses in the Crescent were destroyed during the Bath Blitz of April 1942 and later rebuilt behind John Wood's preserved facades. The money for this development came from Ralph Allen, who bought the Coombe Down quarries in 1726 and built a tramway to run the great blocks of stone down into the city. That warm glow everywhere, that one material, it's the local honey-coloured Bath stone, dug from Allen's quarries. The whole city essentially cut from the same golden block. Walk onto the lawn in front of the Royal Crescent, and mind you don't fall off the wall. What wall? Exactly. Hidden in plain sight is a ha-ha, a sunken wall that when seen from the houses, it reads as open field rolling away to the hills, while quietly keeping the livestock on the public lands from getting onto the private lawn above. Nearby is the Grade 1 listed Royal Victoria Park, opened in 1830 by the 11-year-old Princess Victoria and designed by city architect Edward Davis. It was England's first park to bear her name, 7 years before she became Queen. On the way back down, you pass Gay Street. Jane Austen lived in Bath from 1801 to 1806. 2 of her novels, Northanger Abbey and Persuasion, are set right here. The Jane Austen Centre sits at 40 Gay Street, Austen Lodge just up the hill at number 25. Next, slip down to New King Street for the under-the-radar stop. At number 19, the Herschel Museum of Astronomy. A Bath organist and self-taught astronomer named William Herschel pointed a homemade telescope at the sky on the 13th of March 1781 and discovered Uranus. From a terraced back garden in this ordinary little house, one man doubled the size of the known solar system. His sister Caroline worked beside him and became a celebrated astronomer in her own right. Walk back to the river and pause on Pulteney Bridge. Completed in 1774 by Robert Adam, it was inspired by Florence's Ponte Vecchio and lined with shops across its span. Built by Sir William Pulteney, named for his wife Frances. It opened access to a new town of his own on the far bank of the Avon. The bridge was used by Turner as an example of perspective. It's now Grade 1 listed. Next door to the baths sits the Grade 1 listed pump room, the Georgian social engine where everyone came to drink the waters and inspect everyone else. Built in the late 1700s, it was designed by Thomas Baldwin and completed by John Palmer, and the mineral water still flows from the original fountain inside. Try a glass if you dare. Just don't sit too close. It whiffs as bad as it tastes. Richard Bow Nash arrived in 1705 and became Bath's influential master of ceremonies. He set the rules for fashionable society and helped transform the spa town into a center of Georgian social life. Jane Austen put the pump room straight into her novels, while Charles Dickens was also a frequent visitor. At the pump room, enjoy a mid-afternoon break. Choose from a variety of delicious meals or afternoon tea. The pump room is very popular, so best book ahead. A minute away at So Close, look up at the Theatre Royal. It's Grade 2-star listed and is one of the oldest working theatres in the country. The theatre opened in 1805, burned in 1862, and reopened a year later with a young Ellen Terry as Titania. The site includes the former Garrick's Head, once home to Beau Nash. Despite Bath's elegance, Jane Austen had mixed feelings. In Northanger Abbey, Austen lets a character call it the most tiresome place in the world. All this elegance was a performance, a marriage market dressed as leisure, and Austen saw straight through it. Don't worry, you shan't tire of Bath in one day. End the walk where the day's been heading all along. An early evening pint at the Star Inn, just off the Paragon. Grade 2 listed with 4 tiny wood-panelled rooms fitted out in 1928 and a fireplace carved with a star over hops. It's on camera's national inventory of historic pub interiors. The house bass is still poured from a jug, one of only a handful of pubs in the country that still does it that way. Now, I can't imagine why more people don't prefer their beer warm and flat these days. Camera rates the Star the last pub in the Southwest, pouring straight from cask to jug to glass, a survival that helped win it the Branch Pub of the Year in 2022. There's no jukebox, no fruit machines. That's slots to my American audience. There's a bench the locals call Death Row. And complimentary snuff on the ledge if you're feeling Georgian. The Star was first licensed in 1759 and occupies several combined Georgian houses. Today, it's the brewery tap for Abbey ales. End the day with a quiet pint in this historic pub before making the short walk to the station. Now hold that thought, because I've got an optional extra, because architecturally it's so important. The Grade 1 listed Prior Park, loaded with listed buildings in a stunning landscaped setting. Since you're heading back to the station anyway, this would be your optional extra from the station. Or you could do it at the start of your day on arrival. From Bath Spa Station, take the number 2 bus, a journey of around 7 minutes. Alternately, walking around 30 minutes via Prior Park Road. The route is uphill and moderately strenuous. You can map the pedestrian route on the National Trust Prior Park route. Remember Ralph Allen, whose Bath stone helped shape the city? His Grade 1 listed mansion at Prior Park, designed by John Wood the Elder and completed in 1745, was a grand Neo-Palladian showcase for the stone quarried at Coombe Down. It's now home to Prior Park College. Below the house stands Prior Park's Palladian Bridge, a Grade 1 listed scheduled monument built in 1755. One of only 4 of its type in the world and the last of its kind in England. This elegant covered bridge is the highlight of the landscape, worth the trip there alone. Several other listed structures around Prior Park add further interest. The gardens were laid out from the 1730s by Allen with advice from the poet Alexander Pope and Lancelot Capability Brown. It's run today by the National Trust. Trains back to Paddington run late into the evening, but as always, check departure times ahead of travel. One final stop. Pick up supper from Marks & Spencer Simply Food before leaving Bath, or do it on your return to Paddington Station. A sandwich, a snack, and something sweet make an easy end to the day. After a substantial afternoon meal, supper on your belly in front of the telly, back at the hotel, feels fitting. Roll back into London relaxed. You've done the smartest thing a tired traveler can do. You took a day off from the holiday, inside the holiday. That's daybreak. From Bath, mind the steam. If you live, work, or travel in London, or if you own, manage, or work in a London pub, if you work as a London tour guide or at a London attraction, and you'd like to be a guest contributor to our main podcast, Publicity, or London Travel Toolkit, email me expatandy@publicitythepodcast.com. Love our content? Love London and its pubs? The best thing you can do is share the love. Literally, share this episode with your network. Your share is the butterfly ripple effect across the globe for a small business in London.